Hey guys, so as you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be tackling my kitchen cabinets today. And we use our cabinets kind of like our pantry, so they house literally all of our food because we don't have a pantry. And so that's the first challenge with organizing our cabinets. The second challenge is that they are a very odd shape. So it's the peninsula that you see me working on right now and just removing some things that got delivered with our groceries. And they're very deep. So obviously with deep cabinets, you have things in the front, you have things that get pushed to the back, and the things that get pushed to the back are often overlooked. I don't know I have them. I forget about them because I can't see them or they're very difficult to get to. So we're going to solve that whole problem today. So as you can see here, I'm just starting out by taking literally everything out of there. I am starting on the left side. I have 3 cabinets under there. So I'm starting on the left side, getting everything out of there first so I don't overwhelm myself. And then I'm going to get started on kind of grouping things together in the most logical way that I can, since what I'm going to be doing is using a few large bins to organize my cabinets instead of multiple medium or small size bins. I feel like with the medium or small size bins, I'm just facing the same problem. The bins just get pushed to the back and I don't have great access to them either. So if I have multiple large bins, then I feel like I will be able to actually see everything that I have more quickly and more easily. So I am still working on getting everything taken out, and then I will begin the grouping like I said. As you can see here, I'm really struggling to get these items from the way back of the cabinet, so that is exactly the problem that I'm trying to solve here. I also want to mention that while I am taking everything out, I am sort of grouping it how I want to have it organized within the cabinets. And then I also am going through and checking dates on things that I feel like have been in there for a long time and I haven't recently purchased. So that way I can just get rid of the things that are just taking up space and are old. So simultaneously grouping and also decluttering everything. I had to go run and change into a t-shirt. I was getting so hot trying to dig around in these cabinets. So I went into this also knowing that most of the things I pulled out of here I did not want to go back into these cabinets. As you can see here, I have cleared out also the cabinet above our stove, and that used to be our snack cabinet for like chips and crackers and just snack food. And I wanted to move our cans up here and the things that were just constantly being pushed into the back of the really deep cabinets, just because I don't really reach for these very often, so I know that they wouldn't get, shoved to the back where I wouldn't even know what we had, or I would never see them. So this way, even though I may not go up here very often, I can see exactly what we have when I do need to check on things. I know that this setup is not necessarily the traditional place to store canned goods like this, but it is just what's going to work for us the best, and that's ultimately what matters. Is when you're organizing your space, you are making it functional for you and what your needs are, for your family. In this case, it's just me and Travis, but I know that this is going to work so much better for us, so that's all that matters. Here I'm starting to just put everything that is about baking in one bin. I don't bake very often, so it just makes sense for me to have it all in one single place. So when I do want to bake, I can just pull out this bin and not have things scattered everywhere. The setup in this bin did not actually end up staying, but I wanted to keep the clips in just to show you guys that it is trial and error to figure out exactly what's going to work, and that's perfectly fine. It's all just part of the process. One grouping I knew I wanted to have was a bin specifically for salad things. Travis makes these particular salads every single day, so it was important for me to just have all of that supplies in one bin. I knew that from the get-go, so here it is. These were the bins that inspired me to organize my cabinets this way, is that because they are so big and they're so deep. And that way I can just have large groupings of things. For example, this bin is just for dinner items, and I don't have any stragglers that are just randomly in the cabinet. My next bin is where I'm going to be shifting all of our snacks into. So like I said, I used to keep our bags of chips and crackers and popcorn up above the stove, but that just was not working. So I'm just going to go ahead and put all of those in one big bin. I also did include even like snack related items, like I put in here some French onion dip mixes, and I think I even throw in the hot sauce that we used for a buffalo chicken dip, because I know, to me, it makes sense. It's still a snack item and I'm going to use that to make a snack. So it's all about what works for you. I started to make this like the extra backstock bin, and it ended up not working because it was it wasn't narrow enough to fit behind the larger bins. So I think I ended up switching it into that taller skinny bin. I don't know if I included the clip though, so just wanted to mention that. As a storage bin lover, it was very hard for me to stop myself from putting smaller groupings of things in smaller bins, but I just had to keep reminding myself that that's not what the goal was here, because clearly the smaller groupings just get lost in these cabinets. So sometimes you do have to remind yourself to stay on track and remember what your end goal is. In this bin, I'm including just some miscellaneous like pots and their lids and things that are not my most used. I do have a wire rack underneath the cabinet that I'll show you at the end of this video that keeps my most used items. So this is just, ones that just kind of float around. So I wanted to keep those contained. Just another trial and error moment. I thought keeping our clear cutlery in plastic bags would be a great idea, and it was not. They just did not fit, so just another mistake along the way. Before I went any further with trying to organize some smaller bins, I wanted to get the main ones in the cabinets to see how they would sit and how, they would be organized, so that way I could definitely work around those, since those are the most important bins. I did a lot of standing around and thinking during this process, but of course with YouTube magic, I just cut those out because it's, it's boring to see somebody just stand around and stare at their cabinets. But I just wanted to be real with you guys that it did not come, very easily to me. It was a challenge, but just keep pushing, you'll get there eventually. What I'm creating here is just another snack bin. This one is a little bit more miscellaneous, but again, it's just a large grouping of snacks, which is going to work perfectly fine for us. And then I also am going to be putting that extra cutlery into this smaller bin, which this one is small enough for me to slide behind the larger one. So that actually worked out perfectly. And this is where I realized I need to make a change with all of my extra items, so I am moving those into this bin over here. And my last large bin is where I'm putting items that didn't necessarily fit in the other large bins, but ended up working perfectly. I have a little bit of extra space, and I only use 6 bins, so ultimately my goal was met. So I'll just kind of run through where I ended up putting everything and why it kind of works for me and us and, what we use most of this stuff for. So I keep our toaster in this bin here. I don't like crumbs in a toaster, and I don't like it being out either, so I keep it in that bin. So that way I don't have to worry about crumbs getting all over in the cabinets or on the countertops. It just really, it's a thing. It grosses me out. Travis makes fun of me for it all the time that we had to buy a bin for our toaster, but yes, we did. And then I just have our pots and our most used pans and a baking dish that I use pretty frequently. So I just keep all of those in that wire organizer, which I've already had that, and I had the bin for the toaster already too. I keep our paper plates right here up front. In the back is just some nesting bowls, and then a larger pot is on the bottom, and our sorry, you can't really see it because of the plates, but I use these. So I just keep a pot down there along with the strainer because I typically use both of those together, so that just works. That was kind of already set up, all of this top was already set up like this, and then I just have this little turntable for things I use pretty frequently, like Travis's syrup, sesame oil, avocado oil, olive oil, all of those, white wine vinegar, things just for cooking. And it's just easy to keep them like this because then I don't have to move them around to get to one. It's just really convenient to have them right there. So this top portion was always working pretty well, so I really didn't do a lot with that. The part that wasn't working well, which I probably already told you guys this in the voiceover, is just this part and then this door over here. Those did not work well because they're so deep. I would just shove things to the back and never see it again. So I ended up doing on the bottom shelf, and as you guys saw too, I just kind of moved the snacks and stuff over here because up top above the stove it was not working up there either. I was just piling things up and it just wasn't functional. So I think in the back here I ended up putting all of the baking stuff because I don't bake a lot, and then I keep snacks up front. So I just did these 2 bags in this larger bin because I know that when we buy new ones they're really big, so they need to be in their own bin. So we'll keep that there so that way I can just kind of pull it out when we need it. And then this is all Travis's salad stuff. So he's got croutons, dillies, which are really good. They're little, it tastes kind of like fried pickles, chips, his turkey bacon bits, and his dressing. And I did keep the extra dressing in there too, but that way when he wants to make his salads, he can just take that whole thing out and everything he needs is right there. So that's why that works for us. And then over here I have more snacks, and I don't think there's anything behind there. No. So this is just more snacks. Again, just move those from on top of the stove so they can just be more organized. And so yeah, I think that it looks so much better. I just love how everything is just contained, and I can just pull out one bin and not have to worry about digging behind everything to find what I need. It's just in a bin, and it just looks so much better. We've got the rest of our bins. Behind here, that is just backstock of like clear cutlery. What I ended up putting in here is I've got all of like dinner things. So I wanted to just kind of make a dinner bin. If I would have separated all of these things out, we just would have had a million bins in here, which is the opposite of what I want. I want a few large bins so I can just take them out and not have a whole bunch of stuff in the back to get lost. So dinner, it's kind of vague, but it makes sense to me because all of these things I know that I use for meals. So I have like breadcrumbs that I use like literally only for dinners, rice that we use for sides for dinners, sesame seeds, I put those in all of our Asian like dinners. So that makes sense to me to have them there. Rice, taco stuff, spaghetti noodles, so that, and also some like sauce, like pizza sauce, and I think I have a marinara sauce in here somewhere. I have a teriyaki sauce. Like this all makes sense to be in a dinner container because it's only things that I would strictly use if I wanted to make a dinner with it. So that makes sense to me. Let me pull out my next one. And I'm okay with like having to pull out one bin to get to this one. This one isn't one that I'm gonna like reach for a lot. Dinner one will probably be more. So, but I am totally okay with just moving one bin rather than before I had to literally dig through whatever. I had spices here and that did not work. I was always knocking them off of the rack. So yeah, I will gladly pull this one bin out to get to the other one. So let me get that one. And so, like I said, this one isn't one that I'm going to be pulling out a lot. It's just some peanut butter. We've got some canned chicken, canned tuna, pancake mix, and some oatmeal, which I don't use these things a lot. I really only use peanut butter for if I'm making like protein balls. So it's one of those things I know I need it when I want protein balls. So it doesn't need to be in front of me. So that's what's in that bin. So in here I have more snacks. So snacky things, that's something that you do want up front because it's like if you want a snack, you don't really know what you want, you need to look at it and see it. So I keep that, I put all of these up front, and we just have some like tuna packets. I have stuff for like s'mores. That's been like my favorite snack lately. Well, more like a little dessert. Some like protein bars in there, and then some ramen noodles are underneath these tuna packets. I don't really want those at the forefront, so I put those in the bottom. But yeah, this is just like a miscellaneous, another snack. And the last one I have here is just like miscellaneous like baking items. So I put this at least the front of the container because I do use that pretty frequently. I don't use any of these frequently, but it's things that I may need sometimes. So obviously I can't get rid of them, but I don't use them a lot. So yeah, that one is kind of tucked away in the corner a little bit, but again, just have to move one bin and I'm there. So up here, this used to be like our snack cabinet. This works for us so much better. So I added that little, what would you call that? Like shelf, wire shelf thing. So because this is a very tall cabinet and there's really nothing I could put in here to actually like maximize that space. So a little riser thing was great. And then also I'm so happy I put the spices up here because I don't have to worry about like getting things from behind them, knocking them over all the time, which that happened literally all the time. It was so annoying. And so I put all of them on here on the spice rack so I can see them all still. And that spice rack is really helpful. I love that thing. Cans, we don't have a lot of cans. Apparently we need sliced carrots a lot. And then just like little random things. So I did group all of these things together on top of the, what did I call it? Shelf. Because I use all of those together. It's like, I think that's flaxseed and coconut flakes and then oats and some protein because I use those for the protein balls. So that makes sense for it to all be together for me. Salsa over there, just like random like canned goods. But yeah, it just works so much better up here than the snacks. Like the snacks, we constantly take those things out and down, and they never went back in an organized way. No matter how much I like organize them, they just would never stay like nice. So this is gonna be so much better for us. And I also have 3 leftover bins from this, so that's awesome. I don't know where I'm gonna put them yet, but hey, I'm not gonna complain about leftover bins because I love putting things in bins, obviously. So we'll definitely find a place for these. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys liked it and got some motivation out of it. I know our cabinets test really needed it, and it really didn't take that long. I just, you know, had to sit down and actually do it. So yeah, again, thanks so much. Subscribe if you're not already, and please like this video if you did find it motivating and enjoyed it. Bye.